Hey everyone, and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2 and the Hanseatic Dreamland, a project in which we are turning an abandoned Hamburg harbor area into a theme park of our dreams. And in today's episode, there's a lot happening. Oh boy, there is so much to talk about and so much to do. First things first, I have that powered train station that finally receives the station. That is a wonderful little station, nothing too crazy, but it really looks good in the end. That was a to-do I was actually moving the whole time, but yeah. So before we start right into the episode, as always, a little note from the sponsor of the channel, Instant Gaming. You should know it by now. If not, Instant Gaming is a platform in which you can get some keys for a good value. You can grab DLCs, full games, pre-orders, whatever, customer support and so on, everything at your fingertip or actually click of a mouse, and you can even get some in-game currencies for like PlayStation Network or Xbox for a better value. Just check it out, link here as always in the description. But now it's time to move on to our video again, because today, as I said, is gonna be a packed episode. We are building, as I said, the station. Not going to take it too long over here. I just took some of the existing brick patterns and just made sure that I used something. That is also, by the way, pre-update and pre-DLC, I shall say, even though the DLC doesn't bring any pieces. But I would have done this completely different, because now with the complete set of supports, we have wonderful brick pieces, or custom, I don't say brick pieces, but they are stone pieces or concrete. I think it's concrete. The material is concrete, but they are so tiny you can make some actual pretty nice bricks, single bricks out of it. I did my best here to do it with plaster pieces. Not gonna redo this building, but moving forward we will have some way better looking buildings in the future. In this video, in a later stage of the video, I'm gonna talk about something very important about this channel and recent comments, I should say, or a recent sentiment towards this game, towards me as a person. So if you're interested in that, stick with me. Gonna do this later, but this is now for the people who are actually interested in the build. This is the final station. I did cut out a bit of the building because it just was repetitive copy paste, so you saw how that was. And then finally we move to the past update situation, and well, actually when I became dad second time, because in between that was where we were at the hospital and I took a couple days off. Now I finally removed all the water pieces. That was a pain. It took forever. This is why I'm gonna cut this in a second. There you go. And then I finally just put the new glass pieces in. They're good, you know, they do what they do. I would have loved to see them flexicolor to make them maybe a bit more, you know, milky or just not as so bright. But you know what? I don't want to complain. These are glass pieces now. They look fine. They have enough of a texture to be believable glass, as you can see over here. They do not cast the light in a too crazy way or anything. They make it a tad bit more subtle, which I do like. Very nice effect. And so yeah, there's not really much to complain about. I just moved these pieces in, as you can see, not speeding up this process too much to just show you what exactly I did, because I needed to prepare this building for its final purpose, and that is the indoor pool section. Yes, here you go. I already moved forward where I have already built the pools. I again did cut out a couple of things because oh boy, that just took forever and ever. But yeah, so we have our final indoor pool. The main feature I wanted to have in here is a three-way wave pool. That's like the big star of the show, the focal point when you come into the whole old factory. That's like it. And I called this the Splash Werft. For those of you who don't know what a werft is, it's basically where the ships are being built, where, you know, the ships are prepared and so on, and then left, you know, pushed out into the ocean, into the waters to be finished. So that is usually what you have in these harbors. And I imagine that this is an old werft building, and it is. I think it turned out very nice. I gotta admit though, I wanted to do something else, but the pools are a tad bit too unflexible for that. Or maybe I didn't just want to put so much time and effort. You know, I became dad and I have to just juggle. Like, just briefly telling you what I wanted to do. So, usually these werfts, I'm using the German word for it, by the way, because we are in the German area. But usually those buildings feature a bottom part in which the ship has been built with a almost like ship body shaped lowered area in the middle. And I wanted to make this basically being the pool, but then it just had these rounded areas to both sides, and it just kind of I don't know, it would have looked a little bit weird, but at the end of the day, by the way, the English word for it, because I forgot to say that, is a shipyard, obviously. And this is something very important to note, that this shape that is in there could have been a very nice touch, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it's fine the way it is, and usually you have like a whole bunch of water in there, obviously, and a lot of scaffolding to the sides. But why I think this is a good building is because these type of shipyard buildings are mostly very big open buildings, like where you don't have any inner walls or anything, because, well, a ship is freaking big, you know, that's that. And yeah, the one side of the wave pool, you'll see that at the end, does actually look a lot like the typical bottom part of a shipyard, of a werft. So werft. Try to say that in German while you're speaking English. And then obviously we also had like a very nice platform with some slides and flumes going down. We will also have like a cannonball type of flume on the other side. And yeah, just I think the building itself looks fantastic. I will talk about the whole thing more in the real-time part, because that's where we are going to enjoy its whole glory a lot better, simply because, you know, that's where... Also, by the way, in case you were wondering, the top dome, like the dome structure, I did not exchange the water pieces, because that would have been a crazy pain to do, because I didn't really think about it to make that individual buildings. By the way, this is a tip from my side. I completely failed here. I just completely ignored my own rule to make separate buildings per building. So what I should have done is to make the framework of this building, and then the glass pieces that I initially made out of the water pieces should have been its own building. It's always important to build in modules, because when you build in modules, it's way easier to add it later on. I didn't, so that was a pain. And last but not least, one thing I want to talk about before I talk about the channel and the sentiment thing I mentioned earlier. I wanted to have a bit of a realism aspect in here as well. So what I did is like I built a little pump building, and yes, there will actually be a pump in here, and we are also going to have a second pump hidden somewhere in this building that I'm going to show you later. I'm not sure if it's in the speed build, by the way. It could be in even. And I just figured it's a good idea to have it there, because it just makes the whole process a little bit more realistic to have that. And yeah, then I was also recoloring the flumes. I'm still a little bit confused to why the flumes are flexicolored the way they are. It's not like really, I'm not complaining, it's just weird to see it that way. It is helpful if you want to make it multicolor, but then again, it is also a bit weird if you want to make it in segments. I mean, you can color the segments yourself if you want to. I'm getting more into that once I'm building a complete, like, focused on flume build. I haven't done this yet. I'll do this though. I have a plan for this, but that's gonna be later. Yeah, I have to deal with my time the best way possible. Also did some venting systems over here to maintain some airflow and just stuff like that. It's implied. It's not like put correctly, but it looks good, so that's that. Anyways, let's take a couple minutes now to talk about my channel, the sentiment, and so on. I recently noticed a lot of, how do I put this? For the most part, like a vast majority is super supportive and very constructive in the way how we are talking specifically about Planet Coaster 2. But on the other hand, there has been a huge wave of negativity, also towards me, actually telling me I am too negative about the game, too negative about anyways, the games in general and so on, that I'm being too unsupportive, and that it's just very understandable that Frontier dropped me. If they did, like, I don't know for sure. It's very unfortunate I didn't get a message from them yet, so maybe it's just like a misunderstanding or whatever, so I don't want to put this too high up. My message also on YouTube was only meant to inform you that there won't be any videos, because I wasn't able to prepare. It was more like a service that you can watch stuff elsewhere and don't wait for my stuff, because I know that people wait for my update videos and not watch others, and I just wanted to ensure that people can watch others, because I don't have anything. But people accuse me of being always too negative, and now being actually towards Frontier too negative because I've been dropped or anything. That is, like, it's so funny, because that just shows how selective perception in humans, like with a human system, works. Like, let that sink in. For 8 years now, I've been doing over 2,000 videos on my channel, most of which, like easily 80%, are about Frontier games. Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, Jurassic World Evolution, Jurassic World Evolution 2, now Planet Coaster 2, and I would say, and actually, it's not even dangerous to say that, or I will be right, I will be correct, 98% of them are absolutely freaking passionate and positive and praising and ever. And I would need to make another 100 negative videos with over 1,000 negative comments each to balance out all the comments that accused me of being biased and bought and paid by Frontier. And just to make that clear once and for all, I've never ever been paid by Frontier. Not a single penny. We have obviously been invited, we get keys for free, but if you're a creator, you should be able to still judge a game, because keys, basically I get keys for every game I ask for, which makes sense because that's a give and take, you know. But like a proper promotion, I have to label. I've done that in the past, and most of the promotions I do, if not all, I would need to double check if there was anything else in the past, but I can't remember. I always double check with the dev or with everyone else if I'm still allowed to say the truth. Just as an example, I was paid by Paradox to do a Cities Skylines 2 video, which was labeled like such and so on, and I double checked with Jonathan back in the day if there is anything I have to just make sure to say or anything, or if I can say whatever I think about the game. And he was like, no, just tell the truth, it's fine. We just pay you because, you know, you give us the exposure. And because I'm not under NDA anymore, and you know, that's been in the past, I can talk about that. And I talked about the game as I felt, and as we all know, the launch of Cities Skylines 2 hasn't been necessarily as flawless as it could be. And I was talking about this like this, because why would I lie? And all I'm saying is, it's so funny to me that now, as you speak about the game, and it's not my fault that Planet Coaster 2 is a bit more rough than all the other Planet games. Planet Zoo was also rough at the beginning, but the big difference was that there was a lot more obvious communication to what's going to happen. They had a beta in which they had creators involved in what they're doing. They openly admitted that franchise was broken at the beginning and they're working on fixing it. Like, they didn't bring out a cash grab DLC just a week later. Almost, it feels like a week later, a month later. We can debate about the fact if the Arctic DLC was great or not, but it was definitely not a cash grab, you know. There's so much I would love to talk about even more, but I think I made my point, and I don't want to abuse this wonderful video of this great game, and there's still a lot of positivity in this game, to do more of that. I just wanted to just get that out and say, what the heck? It's so funny to see that. Like, it's really selective perception. And with all my negative videos, I've always put that into perspective. I've always put that into a context. And I mean, I've been spending almost 150 hours already in this game and prepared a lot of videos. Well, you do you, whatever you want to think about this. For those of you who've been following me for longer, they know anyways. And so let's get back into this build because I love it. And before we jump into the real-time part, just real quick, you can see I did a lot of little fixes, a lot of little tiny things. I want to talk about them in the real-time part because they matter so much. And just the lighting in this hall is absolutely insane. Let alone for that, this game is great. So yeah, we'll see that in a second once we go into the real-time part. I can't wait to show you, so let's jump over. We are in the park, and I actually turned it into heavy rain to make you aware of how cool that is if you're inside of it, because that is just like so cool. Because once we're in, you can see the rain is gone, just to showcase how good that is. I'm also quite happy that this works with the water. I didn't know maybe the water was not working at the glass piece, but it does also as a solid piece to avoid water to flow in. It also makes the whole thing look a bit nicer indoors because you have that like slight fog in here, and the colors are a tiny bit toned down. It's still too sunny. And we have some water dribbling here in the middle somewhere. Ah, no, that was just like the looks of the lights. But yeah, so as you can see, I added a whole bunch of details. There are some light floodings in here. There you can see them as well. I added some of the lights as well onto the top to just make that all look a bit nicer once it's nighttime. I added a whole bunch of planters, put in some of the beach chairs over here and these like areas to sit down and lie down. Added my towel racks and stuff like that, a couple of little things here and there, just really to add to the feeling of this hall. And I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. You can actually go to one of the slides over here and then you can slide into the kids pool. Very simple little details here, and then we've got the big one splashing in here. We've got that like almost, yeah, that might be the only one that gets a bit problematic to crash down over here, but maybe the water would break you enough, I don't know. And then over here we have that bigger slide that just ends up over here. Most of them are working as they should. I open up everything, but just like we don't have too many guests in here as of now because it just opened. And then we have the big star of the show, the Splashwerft. One thing I forgot to do is to put some plants into the 2 ships I have put in here. That was one of the ideas, but now, oops, slowly but steadily you can see my idea coming together. Like, I mean, just look at the background with the rest of the werfts and the harbor area in here. I think that just looks phenomenal. It just gives you the idea of being fully immersed in the harbor area. Yeah, I just really enjoy that. And then once we go over here to the other side, we've got our changing rooms to our left hand over here. We're very busy at the moment. And then we've got that splash tower, like this cannonball kind of thing. I've been on such a thing. This one is, I guess, deep enough to feature that, and then people would go there and just tumble in here. I've had that in the Netherlands, and then just people were crashing into the water, and I was doing that myself. But fun bit is I didn't know that was a slide like that. I was going on the slide and all of a sudden it was just like cut and I fell down 4 meters into the water. That was just kind of a shock. But yeah, then we also have the staircase leading up there, and on here we have, as I said, the fake little water pump, which isn't really fake, but just how the pipework works. But if you have a little look in here, it is not fake. There's actually some stuff in. And the other one is, I'm just gonna run over there real quick while this is getting a very busy place. Mate, you can put away your umbrella. You don't need that in here. And then we're just gonna run all the way over here. Oh, look, there's one red one left over here. All the way over here. This is where the entrance is to this area. One thing, if we could get a fix on that, I would love to be able to rotate the staircase and change where the entrance can go. Because it would be so cool to put the entrance on this side. But it just like, I wasn't able to do that. I couldn't change the direction of the entrance. Even though the staircase is like that, we should be able to have it also on this side. Like, there's virtually no reason why it wouldn't. Or here, on this side as well. This would be the most logical one, by the way. Just, like, go straight up onto the stair. I can understand, though, why you wouldn't put it here, though. That's fine, but... yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit weird. And then here you have the entrance into the queue. I put this little building in here. You don't see that in the time-lapse. I just quickly built this together with some stuff in here. But it's just, like, so cool. You can look to the outside and then see the rain dripping down. I gotta tell you, it still is too sunny. But I like the effect. I like the fact that we can finally set the weather in this game. Really love that. And just looking outside, seeing the coaster here. This just all looks so good, doesn't it? I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan, guys. But I want to end this here, jumping into the overview camera, free look camera, and then get rid of our wonderful UI. Sorry, that laughter was a bit unnecessary. I just couldn't hold back. See, there comes the pain with having a cough then as a result of that. Yeah, but this is it, guys. This is my wonderful pool section, and I'm loving it. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. That was a whole bunch of work, a lot more work than I was expecting it to be, honestly. But finally, our main hall has its purpose, and yeah, just let me know what you think about this build. Do you like it? What would you have loved to see in here? And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you like the content, and I talk to you, well, as you guessed, in the next one.